your campaign will adapt, and you need to let people know what you're doing and why. So ideally, everyone on this call, you are no longer knocking doors, you are no longer doing lit drops. Like ideally, all of you have your kind of campaign and crisis plan already a bit in place, but you should be telling voters, right? Like, I'm going to be doing these webinars. I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to be doing these calls with community leaders. I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live every Wednesday at noon, right? Let your voters know how they can reach out to you and how they can communicate with you, and that you're doing it, right? So we can flatten the curve, keep people safe. So how are things different now? First, I do want to say the reason why you're running, if you came to the first webinar in the series, we talked about your reason for running, why you're running in general, that may have shifted. If you were originally running to really focus on the schools and now you realize like, wow, we had absolutely no conversation from our local government what's happening. Now I really need to run on the issue of transparency. That may shift what your reason for running and therefore your message, but also what your voters find resonance will probably shift as well.
What's really important right now is internal communication, especially because the standard ways that we've been doing internal communication have really gone out the window. Because you can't do in-person meetings and you have to work around a lot of really wild schedules right now. So the most important thing that you should do to start is what internal communication practices do you have right now? So whether that's regular or twice a month kitchen cabinet meetings, whether that's regular calls with your candidates and managers, staff meetings, volunteer trainings that are in person, or anything like that, we really need to take a look at what these in-person physical meetings are and how we can adapt them to this new digital world. So the very first question you should ask, once you make a list of all these internal communications that you do, is can you still do it safely? And by that, can you still do it remotely? And if you can, that's fantastic. You should keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you got a great plan in place. But if not, you need to determine A, if it's still necessary, and B, if it is still necessary, how do you move it to a really safe format that you can ensure that everybody is still observing social distancing and being as healthy and safe as they can be right now?
So when you're posting a tweet or something on Facebook, it should be clear, it should be concise, it should be relatively short. I always say the rule that I have is before I post on Facebook, I write the piece of content for Twitter first, because Twitter has less characters, and then you put that on Facebook and maybe shorten it. But think about when people are scrolling through on their phones and Facebook, it cuts it off. Like you have to press see more, and the chances that the person will read the full amount gets lower if they have to take that extra step to press see more. And including an ask is also really important because it gives your audience an action to do. It gives them a way to engage. It increases the engagement on the back end for you, so you can see like, oh, they clicked on that link. That means that I should probably be sharing more stuff like that. A hook, so that might be like an awareness day or like something that happened in the community people are waiting for you to respond to. But the tweet or the post, no matter what, should be on message, it should be in your voice, and it should be authentic to who you are.
And this is media that you literally own in this case. And the two big ones being your website and your email list. And unlike social media, this is stuff that you directly have control over every single thing that goes on there, and for a large part, who sees it. So for your website, this is a great way for you to constantly putting out information. So whether that's ways for reporters to get in contact with you or voters, whether that's updating your website with photos or news articles or digital events or press releases that you have, it's such an easy way for people to learn so many things about you all in one concise place. And the major key behind that is to make sure that everything is easy to navigate, easy to read, and easy to understand. The other side of things, which we'll get into a lot more detail in just a little bit, is your email list. And much like that, you control all the content that goes in there. And even more importantly, the website, you control who sees that and who's subscribed to your email list. So you know exactly who's receiving your messages. And that helps you tailor every message that you send out through this email list program that you're going to create.
So COVID-19, right? It rules the news right now. It is incredibly hard to get reporters to cover anything but COVID. You know, at Emerge, we've seen political reporters go on the healthcare beat because there is just so much to be covered about COVID. So right now, I mean, a lot of conventional advice would tell you if you want to make the news, you need to peg whatever you're talking about to COVID. And I would say that's kind of true, but also not true, right? I mean, it really depends on the place that you're in and what's happening there, right? So you need to find a way to make something timely, to make it interesting, and then you don't necessarily have to peg it to COVID. What I think a lot of people make the mistake in is that if they're running for an office and it's not actually tied to this thing, they're trying to tie what they're doing to COVID. And we've seen these really weird ties to what their office is and what they're doing with COVID. If there's something, that is in your community right now, people want to know about it. Preparing for tough questions, and this is a really important thing for any candidate to do. You need to be ready, know what you want to communicate, prepare for traps, know what you don't want to say, don't be afraid to repeat yourself, and learn how to pivot back to your message and practice, practice, practice.